Hello, everybody. Today we are talking about Metaverse, and we're going to discuss with Michelle here about the key players in this nascent market and a very exciting area. So, Michelle, let's start from the foundation. We discussed before, and we were saying that the foundation of the Metaverse are already there. The big infrastructures, the big databases, the big providers are already there. And we're talking here about Amazon and AWS that essentially provides all the building blocks for the metaverse. There is obviously Azure and Google, but what do you think? Do you think that there are other players in this space? Do you think there are other providers that are essentially giving creators the tools to start or to kickstart the metaverse experience? You mentioned a couple of them, Active Theory and Decentraland, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about these two companies?
Yes, so for Active Theory, what they do is they specialize on becoming like builders for brands. So as you can imagine, a lot of like the big brands, they want to go into the metaverse and they want to follow the trend, right? But obviously not a lot of these brands, especially if you're coming from like the fashion sector, right? They're not going to invest in like getting people to actually have the expertise, right? So they need some sort of like mediation. So what Active Theory does is they have an offering using like web technology. They make the experience available really just like by going like on a web URL. So you don't even need to like download any software. There's nothing to download, and then you get onto this, like you get into their site, and they allow artists and brands basically to have access to build like their parts of the world for like their brands, so they can create like their branding
Wow.
things just through that little platform that they have that they can access online. It's pretty cool.
And what about the Decentraland?
Decentraland is interesting. Decentraland is they've noticed that there's a relationship, right, with the metaverse, and then you have like all of these things that are happening with blockchain and Ethereum and all this. So basically what they do is they provide they power like virtual reality platforms. So they enable users to create, interact, and basically monetize their content and the applications they come up with within the metaverse. So users are able to like purchase virtual pieces of land in the metaverse. They can travel to, they can construct, and they can monetize these through using the Decentraland.
Okay, cool. I would like also to mention, I forgot it before, but at a lower level, there are other players which are essentially focusing on the hardware that is necessary to power the metaverse experience. So one of them is NVIDIA. As you know, Michelle, we've already mentioned NVIDIA many times in this podcast. They are the number one producers of GPUs, graphical processing unit. And GPUs are an essential tool not only for AI but also for computer graphics. And if I'm not wrong, they launched a platform called Omniverse, where there is a collection of 3D virtual and augmented reality tools that essentially enable you to create photorealistic simulations and even developing games. So what I like about NVIDIA is the fact that they really play at different levels. Not only they are creating the hardware, so they monetize their amazing IP at that level, but they're also bridging the gap and also providing you the software tools to use their hardware. What is the upside here? Well, the fact that those software tools are optimized for the NVIDIA hardware. So you kind of get hooked up to NVIDIA, but guess what? They already provide the best hardware in the market, so why not? Synthesis AI, can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yes, so Synthesis AI, okay, so remember how like for the first examples that I gave, those were basically given for people who don't have the engineering background, they don't have the tech background basically to be part of the metaverse. Synthesis AI is actually on the other part of the spectrum. So their focus is actually on giving engineers the tools to develop the experiences within the metaverse, right? So of course you have engineers all over and they have the expertise and they have the knowledge on how to do it, right? But of course, because the metaverse is new, right, the tools aren't quite there yet. So what Synthesis AI does is they provide you with these tools.
Mm-hmm.
And one example that they gave was that imagine you're watching a sports game, right? And then you're able to do this from the perspective of your favorite athlete. So you know how like regularly you watch games and you're here and the game is happening over there? synthesis AI allows you to get the POV of the person in the game that's happening in real time. And that's just really cool. It's so immersive. But yeah, that's just an example of what they do. Yeah.
Wonderful. And, the last name is actually Meta. We haven't talked about them yet because, to be honest, the only thing that I see about the metaverse is, the long list of, job posts that are published on LinkedIn. And, I always receive this mail saying, we need a machine learning engineer for, developing the metaverse. Do you want to accept the interview, whatever? But aside from that, I haven't seen a single, aside from that and the pitch video of Mark, I haven't seen any tangible application there. I must admit, I'm not an Oculus user and fan, but yeah, I imagine that within the next couple of years, we should see something going on there from Meta, right? Because that's their long-term promise. Listen, Michelle, thanks a lot for participating in this episode. We're already running out of time. Thank you for watching, guys. And if you have comments or questions, just use the